You may have heard that the Fed is thinking about lowering interest rates. But what does that actually mean for the consumer? I'm Roger Abel, wealth advisor and owner at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. And the goal of this channel is to take you behind the wealth and give you insights into the world of personal finance, investing, and wealth management. As we've all heard, inflation is starting to retreat from all-time high levels. Many of my clients are beginning to ask, what does this actually mean for me? And I think people get this false sense that prices of goods are actually going down in value. There's two words that are being thrown out there, disinflation and deflation. And my goal today is to talk a little bit about each of those and how they actually affect you as a consumer. Let's just kind of level set and talk about disinflation, because I feel like that's the one that people are less knowledgeable about and maybe don't know what it means, but most likely to actually happen in our economy. And disinflation is simply when inflation slows, but prices don't go down, inflation continues. So if you think about it, if inflation goes to 2% and it was at 6, well, that's disinflation. The cost of goods is still getting more expensive, but it's not as rapid as it was in the year or two or months earlier. Deflation, by contrast, actually means that prices of goods are going to become less expensive. So the question is, what are we actually experiencing? The short answer to that is we are experiencing disinflation at this point in time. This number is measured by the Consumer Price Index, which reflects the cost of goods. In November of 2023, this index reflected a 3.1% increase in prices versus that of 7% the November 1 year before. So there we are seeing the price go from 7% increase to 3% increase. Broad, sustained deflation would actually be bad for our economy if you went and polled most economists. One of the reasons deflation wouldn't really be good for our economy is if consumers expected prices to become cheaper in the future, they may actually hold off on purchases and then cause the economy to go into a downward spiral even faster. The other big problem with deflation, many people don't actually think about this because people are thinking in the now and they're looking at the prices when they're at the grocery store, when they go to buy a consumer good. But deflation, if you have assets, real assets, so real estate or anything you've borrowed money against, if you have deflation happen, that means the value of goods is less. So if you bought a home for $400,000 and now it's worth $300,000, you may have problems borrowing money because you may be underwater. So this is another reason why deflation really is not great for the U.S. consumer. Since the Great Depression, the U.S. has actually experienced very few deflationary periods of time. The most recent periods of slight deflation were in 2009 during the Great Financial Crisis. We did see prices deflate somewhat, and then we were starting to see light deflation in early 2020 until we went in and stimulated the economy. And now we all know what happened after that. We've seen the largest price increases in history since the 70s and 80s. So really the question becomes, what should consumers do? Well, one, I wouldn't plan on the prices of things getting less expensive. We kind of are in this new normal where prices are what they are and people are starting to adapt to those prices. One of the things consumers can start to do right now is reevaluate your current financial situation. Don't hold on to the idea that prices are going to get less expensive. They likely aren't if we look back through the history of the U.S. economy. One of the things we talk about with our clients, and really the first step, is creating your vision board or your unique lifestyle design. You need to determine what's important to you. And one of the exercises we talk to people about is just take a list of 5 or 6 items and write down what's important to you and what do you want to accomplish. And this really starts to lay the basic framework for how we would tell you to do a budget. If you've had to cut back on your savings, you may find places that you're able to cut back. I know one of the things Jonas in our office jokes with me about is I have my Roger Abel annual QuickBooks audit, and it's where I actually go back and I look at how I spent money throughout the year and I figure out what's the wasteful spending that I can eliminate. And most people have this in your budget. I've seen a lot of apps and videos out there. There's actually technology that can go and find what subscriptions you have and how much money you're actually wasting on subscriptions. And most of us have subscription services that we don't utilize, or maybe we don't even know that we have. One important thing to do, regardless of what happens with prices, is we need to make sure we're still paying ourselves first. You know, many times the first thing that people cut back on is how much they save for themselves. They'd rather, keep their lifestyle going and keep the vacation. But really, when you don't save, you're hurting your future earning and income ability in the future. That's how you're going to generate income in retirement, is through the money that you save. I actually get the question a lot. People ask, how do I actually know how much I should save? And if we look out in the financial industry, there's many rules of thumbs that people can follow. I've heard 15%, some people pay 20%. At Premier Investments and Wealth Management, we believe that financial planning should be specific and very personalized for each individual person. And really the only way to do this is establish a well-written financial plan to, number one, check and make sure you're saving what you need to be on track for retirement. And if you're not, then figure out how much you do need to save. And that's how we start to build this lifestyle design or vision board for people is, hey, are you on track or not? If you're looking to get on track, you can go to btwellshow.com and we will get you our one-page Premier Vision document, or you can click the link in this description below to get started. I want to thank everybody for watching today.